Hey guys, this is Karan Binani from MobiScrub, and we have the Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini versus the Galaxy S4 Zoom. Now, although both of these devices are quite different in their approach, they're quite similar in terms of hardware. If you club the devices together, you'll see that the S4 Mini and the Zoom are actually quite similar in terms of screen size and even hardware for that matter, and hence the comparison of these two devices. But even price point wise, in fact, the S4 Zoom is about 28,000, whereas the S4 Mini is about 25,000. So let's go on with the comparison. The Galaxy S4, in all fairness, is a smartphone camera. So it's got a 16 megapixel 10x zoom camera with xenon flash. So the lens pretty much pops out, and that's how it is. So the device is pretty thick, as you can see. It's about 15 millimeters thick. Not very pocket friendly. It's got a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED screen, and as you can see, it exactly resembles an S4 Mini from the back, whereas in the front it pretty much represents a point-and-shoot camera. It's got a dedicated camera key as well on top, and it's got a 3.5mm headphone jack with a microphone port right there, so pretty much records great audio as well. Like all other smartphones, it's got a USB 2.0 data syncing and charging port, so you can transfer images, videos, and whatnot. The Galaxy S4 Mini, on the other hand, is actually just a plain simple smartphone, which is extremely pocket friendly. You can very easily use it in a single hand. And, it's really thin. It's just 8.9 millimeters. Easily slides into the pocket. It's got regular 3.5mm headphone jack. It's got an IR LED port as well. Weighs really light, just 107 grams. Extremely light. And as you can see, I can pretty much navigate the entire screen with just single hand. So just to give you an idea, the Galaxy S4 Zoom is quite thick. Here you go. It's a 15 millimeter thick device as compared to a barely 9 millimeters thick Galaxy S4 Mini. Now let's explore the S4 Zoom a little more, and you'll see that it's got a really different battery compartment. So you have to open it via the at the bottom where the USB 2.0 data syncing charging port is, and it kind of pops open. The battery comes out. Whereas the S4 Mini, it's again, just very regular smartphone. You take out the rear panel. You've got the dual SIM option as well as micro SD card slot, expandable up to 64 gigabytes. The Galaxy S4 Mini features a 8 megapixel camera with autofocus and LED flash capable of full HD videos, whereas the Galaxy S4 Zoom has got a 16 megapixel camera. It's got a slightly bigger sensor, so it captures more light, captures more detail, and it's got a xenon flash. Now, like most cameras, it's got a zoom function as well, and as you can see, you can rotate. In the front, you've got this wheel which you can rotate to zoom in and out, and it's got a 10x zoom. So the S4 Zoom and S4 Mini, both of them have Android 4.2 running on along with Samsung's TouchWiz interface. So both of them pretty much look exactly the same, except the S4 Zoom comes in with a little more camera-specific applications, which I'll talk about later. Now, again, in terms of Android versions, so let's go into the About section and let me show you that both of these are indeed running Android 4.2.2. The Galaxy S4 Zoom on my left has a 4.3-inch screen with a resolution of 540 by 960 pixels. S4 Mini on the right has the same 4.3-inch screen with the same resolution of 540 by 960 pixels. Both of them are running the Super AMOLED display technology. And with that you can expect really deep blacks, high contrast, high saturation, eye-popping colors, very rich indeed, decent visibility in outdoor sunlight, and wide viewing angles. Obviously, given the same interface, same Android version and TouchWiz, you have plenty of widgets that you can place on your home screen, and that's just going to make your life easier because you just get quicker access to information that you're looking for. Now again, let me just display wide viewing angles. As you can see, I'm placing them at different angles, and the color is not lost. It's still not washed out. And even when I'm really closer, you can see that the detail is really high. Although this might not be a perfect example, I should have probably shown you something which... So there you go, PQRS. You can see how crystal clear the text is. So a great, reading display. Now, camera is really what it's all about, and this is the S4 Zoom that I'm holding, and this is the camera interface. So the S4 Zoom, has multiple modes, and let me just show that to you. So if you go to Smart, you're going to see that there's quite a bit of new modes that are not even present in the Galaxy S4 or the Galaxy camera for that matter. So, a bunch of new features, and that's primarily because it's got the latest Android 4.2.2 running, which the Galaxy camera has not received as yet. It's also got this rotary action, again getting its interface from the S4 and the Galaxy camera stock interface. Now there are a bunch of new filters that comes preloaded with the Galaxy S4 Zoom, and they're even better, or actually more in number than what we've seen in the Galaxy S4. So, these are not the usual boring filters. These are actually quite Instagramish in nature, and you can obviously apply them even before taking the picture, so you know what your picture is going to look like. One of my favorites being the vintage mode. And you've got this autofocus lamp in the front, which kind of glows when you focus. You can obviously turn that off. So when you go into the settings, you'll see that there's flash. You can obviously have that on or off. And photo size is by default, it's not set to 16 megapixels, so you can obviously increase that. But mind you, you're going to basically increase your your picture size. You might want to keep that on the lower side. And you can also record 720p videos at 60 FPS. So you can imagine that you basically have a 720p HD video at really high quality, or basically very smooth. 60 FPS is generally twice of what you regularly shoot at. So you've also got, okay, now let me just show you here that if you actually go down, you'll see, sorry, let me go back. Okay, yeah. So you've got auto screen off. You can obviously do that, but then AF lamp, there you go. Now on AF lamp is basically your autofocus lamp, which you can turn off. Anyway, now you have a manual mode as well, so it kind of gives you a lot of flexibility as to white balance modes, exposure settings, even your ISO modes and aperture. So you can pretty much play around with all manual settings, including shutter speeds, if you're really into those DSLR modes. So the Galaxy S4 Zoom also gives you that flexibility, which other cameras usually don't. The Galaxy S4 Mini, on the other hand, is just like a regular smartphone camera. So, it's still got the new interface. It's still got the new Galaxy camera, the S4 interface. You've got the same old filters that we've seen in the Galaxy Note 2 and the Galaxy S3 era. So, nothing exciting there. Now, again, the modes, these are the new modes. So you've got continuous shot, you've got rich tone, which is HDR, high dynamic range. You've got sports mode and so on. But they're not all the modes that we've seen in the Galaxy S4. There's quite a few of them though. Again, this is by default set to 6 megapixels. You can obviously, increase it and set to the ideal 8 megapixel. However, you lose out on the widescreen capability. So that's that. And then you've got full HD video recording at 30 frames per second. You can obviously reduce that as well. So that's it about the Galaxy S4 Zoom and the Galaxy S4 Mini. Again, it's really not a fair comparison, but given the same display size, almost same hardware, and almost the same price point, I think it kind of makes sense to compare them, because you might just, if you're more of a photographer, you might just go in for the S4 Zoom. And, again, the S4 Zoom is just a little painful because you cannot really carry it in your jeans pocket, whereas the S4 Mini is just a beautiful small piece of technology that you can keep in your pocket. So thank you guys, and do not forget to subscribe.